park to park to park. It's a skater's dream come true. So some considerations. The big one here that I want to point out is the increased economic impact. So skateboarders just don't come and skate. We're not just cultivating, not only are we just cultivating a lot of healthy kids and a lot of active kids here locally, but you have a skate park that's different from anywhere else ever. These are custom built, so you're not gonna have a replica skate park from somewhere else. It's going to be DeSoto skate park, and people are going to want to come here for that. So what do? You see restaurants being used, hotels being used. Skateboarders do travel, so they just go and they get in their cars and they come to skate park, and they got to stay here. They got to eat here. They got to drink here. Everything else. So that's kind of the educational piece. And here's some. I'm just going to show a few examples, and then I'll get some questions. But this is the stereotype that a lot of people may have of a skate park. All right, the only thing that's missing out of this is a couple of folks in the back, smoking cigarettes or something like that. But this is what people think about. And so here's a little bit of the reality that's happening these days. This is the one in McKinney, Texas. This is a 30,000 square foot skate park. Has a nice bowl here, that replica swimming pool, and another one here. And then just a lot of these things that you would see in the cityscape, rails, stairs, and the like. But you can see that, we got shade here, we got lights, have green space, natural seating. That's chopped limestone there in the middle. Nice parking. And this is actually in Gabe Nesbitt Park, and it has a lot of other things going on here. So there's tennis in the back, there's baseball over here, there's more baseball over here. It's just a lot of cool things going on. This is the design. Their motto is unique by nature. And so we actually kind of put this in this middle iconic piece, much like, again, what Michael was talking about. We kind of had that there as well. We want to do something artsy in the middle as a highlight to the skate park. And that was kind of just put there very initially, and they said we love it. So we kind of call it the tree trunk, unique by nature. So we always try and throw in some themes to kind of relate the skate park to the city that we're working with. So one of our first questions with the kids would be, what's the history of DeSoto? What kind of things do we want to highlight while we're here in the skate park? This is a close-up in the middle, and this, admittedly is opening day, but I still get calls from the parks director saying that this is one of their most used parks facilities in the city. And while all these other ball fields around it are empty during the work week, they're super busy during the weekend, obviously, the skate park is used consistently all day, all night. So it becomes somewhat of a hub for the whole park. Arlington, Texas. So this is that destination middle, the biggest one that they're going to have first, and then they're going to work on the ones around it later. So I'm just going to run through these just a little bit. You can see the colors here. Again, the greenery. This is not, your typical slab on your white slab in a field. This is a drone shot. We kind of like these drone shots nowadays. You can see the Arlington logo here. So that was kind of the theme there. Conroe, Texas. So these are all site built. So we don't have a catalog. We don't know what site you guys would be looking at if you were to decide to do a skate park. But that's the beauty of it. We would design and build to the area that you have. So in this case of Conroe here, it was in the woods. And it had a slight clearing already. So there was, and then some of the trees around it weren't doing too well. It was during the drought a couple years ago. So the city took a couple trees out, and it allowed us to build this. So it's all about lumber there, and the train, the railway industry that went behind it to pull all the wood out of there and distribute it to other areas. So wanted to show you some themes here in a minute. See, bowls in the back, the kind of the plaza or the street line in the front. So here's the themes that we like. So you can see I've got a saw blade here, got another hand saw here, which is a skatable rail, got what we call a train tunnel in the bowl, and then a pump jack you would find on a railway line. So not really hokey stuff, but definitely that is Conroe Skate Park. Anyone sees those things, they know it's Conroe. And Roanoke, Texas. We got done with this one just about 10 days ago. Really nice facility. Their theme, or their motto, is the unique dining capital of Texas. So here's a rideable spoon. I don't know if it's true, but they claim it, so I guess they have it. So yeah, we got the tile here around the pool, which looks like kind of diner tile. And just some kind of shots through it. This was a soft opening. There were already a couple of kids out there. What does that look like? It's a knife rail. Granbury, Texas, not too far away from here, west of Fort Worth. Comanche Peak is the mountain just behind Granbury by a few miles, where the standoff of where the Comanches were and kind of the Westerners or whatever. So kind of some theme and history there. I'll skip through this one. This is Brushy Creek, the one you saw earlier. Landscaping, different colors. Those trees are going to grow, provide shade in a few years. Artsy pieces up front. Lots of integrated space in the back here with just everything's real close. This will be my last one. This is the granddaddy, Plaza of the Forks of Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. This doesn't look like a skate park, and this is kind of where we get our kicks. Have some public art programs here. Lots of different materials. They have granite. There's different colored concrete. Themes going on. It's the middle of downtown up there in their prized area. So again, everybody comes here to skate, to not skate, to hang out. So I'll just leave you guys with that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
We're going to be a little bit flexible just because our time is really running. What we're going to do, thanks Jan, if you would just wait for a little while, and we're going to open it up for questions for both of you. But we appreciate Jan coming up from Austin, and of course, it's impressive, the state parks. I'm going to bring up Stephen. He's going to talk a little bit about recreation centers. He's from Brinkley Sargent. We've worked with them. We're working with them in order to renovate our control center. So those of you who are in the recreation center later this year, you'll see that we're going to renovate the control center. And so they're working with us on that. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephen. Thank you.
Hi there. Where's the... Okay, thank you. I knew I was in trouble when I was last. So I'll try to run through this quickly, and I'll probably just skip over a little bit of it because I want to make sure you get as much content in Q&A as possible. So I won't talk about us then. No, y'all just met me. Only thing about me that I'll say is that yes, I'm in the design field, and yes, I specialize in recreation, but I know what it's like to sit in your seat too. I used to be on the Parks Board in my hometown, and now I'm on the Plan Commission. So there's that 30,000 foot point of view that we're able to bring to individual projects. We work across the country, I would say more so across the state, but Dallas is home. So we know this area. If you've been to a rec center in DFW, chances are it might be one of ours. And we're really great at it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so things change. What I'm saying here is that image of recreation centers is really what I call a field house. That's what most people think of when they think of a rec center. They think of a sweaty smelling locker room and a gym. And maybe, where's the laser? This might have been the world's very first indoor track. I don't think I would want to run on it, but that was innovation at a point in time. Well, now recreation is completely different. So we're trying to bring more of the outdoors in. And who knew, even 10 years ago, that we would have hot yoga and suddenly we'd want to have our rooms have the ability to be 90 degrees, or we'd have indoor golf, or that no longer, we're not just swimming laps, we're playing on basically wet playgrounds. And so who knows in 10 more years what it's going to be, but recreation is a very dynamic field. So what that means when you're designing a center is basically the premise is flexibility. We don't know what's coming next. It's a very trend-driven industry, so you need a lot of flexible space. We'll see some examples of that. And storage is another big component. So some big 30,000 foot sort of trends, if you will, for recreation. The thing that we're seeing most, I would say, in communities, especially communities that are looking, that are growing and may not have a lot of recreation center stock already constructed, is consolidation. And that's usually driven by economics. So rather than having, say, half a dozen small centers scattered around town, you may have one or two or three major centers with more amenity. The pro to that is on your operations costs. It's much cheaper to operate a few centers than a whole bunch of similar centers. And co-location is another way you'll hear that term. So you'll see some examples, and here as I click through them, of recreation maybe paired with the senior center, maybe paired with a library, maybe paired with other components. And all that kind of leads to the next bullet point of multi-generational appeal. Rec centers are no longer just for the sweaty guys working out in the gym or lifting weights. It really needs to be a community center. And you're attracting all generations from 2 to 102, and offering programs for all those different demographics. And how do you make everyone comfortable under that same roof? So that sounds challenging, but it's becoming more and more typical. More and more recreation is seen, just like parks was mentioned, as an economic engine. If you've got a great rec center, suddenly you've got everyone saying you should live in this neighborhood because it's the one close to the new rec center. So quality of life projects of any kind, including rec, can increase property values, can create economic impact. And lastly, I would say another trend is there's more and more accountability being placed on directors to justify the cost of rec centers. And I say that to say that more and more centers are being asked to carry more of their operational funding weight. So the traditional rec center is heavily subsidized. It's free or essentially free, to most residents. Well, that's not a very sustainable business model. If you were any other business other than this business of being a city, you would be asked to at least break even. So one of the things that is driving a lot of rec center designs now is really designing it in Excel before you design it on paper. Having that conversation about what is the cost recovery model. Do we want to subsidize it 50%, 80%, 20%? If that is a premise, that affects the amenity set that you build, because you have to be able to say you want a high recapture rate is the term we use, or a low subsidy, then you need to make sure you're offering programs that have more revenue potential than if, say, that wasn't a priority, and you just knew you had to serve this list of needs, whatever that list of needs might be. So those are some of the really big ideas, sort of pictures of what's impacting recreation. I'm going to walk through some of these components. I'll try to do this very quickly. And some of them are just self-evident. Of course you have a main entry, of course you have a front door, but that main entry is really important in terms of design. Think of it almost more as hospitality. The first place you come and go. It needs to have sight lines from that desk. That's another way you can keep costs down. If you can put your control desk in such a place that you've got sight lines down all your major corridors, that's less staff you have to keep eyeballs on all the places being used. So there's some subtle things there that make a big impact. And I mentioned hospitality. We're seeing more and more of an upscale sort of trend. If you make it a nice place to hang out, either before or after a class, or just a place I'll meet you at the rec center, it's a place to hang out maybe after school, then you have a sort of self-activating facility. It's not just recreation, it's socialization, it's fellowship. There's a lot of other opportunities. If you have a meeting component, meeting room type component to your rec center, which is another huge popular component, is everyone needs to have meetings and wants meeting space. That lounge serves as sort of that pre-function and post-function model as well. Of course, there's always going to be a gym. Gym is still the heart of most rec centers, so the conversation there is really how many fields of play, what types of court games are you accommodating. League play is always a question. Depending on the amount of league play, how many bleachers and things like that. We used to call these aerobics rooms. Everyone kind of knows what an aerobics room is. Now we call them group exercise. And it goes back to that earlier slide of who knew 15 years ago that we would have giant balls to store and rows of bicycles and all kinds of different things. And who knows what it's going to be next. So it's not just aerobics anymore. It's all kinds of things going on. And it's really a flexible space for group programming. Cardio fitness. To the extent that cost recovery might be part of the conversation here, think of cardio fitness as kind of like storage. It's impossible to build it too big. This would be the engine that drives your revenue. I would like a perfect example of that is You rarely see racquetball anymore. And that's mostly driven by the financial side. 800 square feet dedicated to 2 people versus 800 square feet that I can probably put a dozen in. Which one is going to help you on your cost recovery side? So that's just, but if racquetball is really popular, I think I've done 2 in the past 10 years. They still happen. We just don't see them as often, and it's all driven by what the community's needs and goals are, of course. Probably the highest ranked amenity next to cardio fitness in rec centers is the track, the indoor track. Even in Texas, where you think, well, we don't need a track, we have much better weather than they do like in the Northeast or whatever. This is still hands down one of the most popular components. And again, it appeals to all ages. So it's a great way to encourage exercise, but it's very social. You know, that's why I chose this slide, is to show all those intangibles of walking around a track that make it so popular. Babysitting in preschool, and the distinction there is babysitting is getting more and more popular for people. There's more and more single parents and more and more caregivers or grandparents or aunts or uncles or whatever. It's just the society we're in nowadays. And one of the challenges to getting people to exercise is, what do I do with Johnny? So drop-in babysitting allows me to go work out or take a class, and there's a program, there's a space for my kids to be occupied for, you know, that 30 minutes or an hour. Versus preschool, which is more of that structured preschool, like where you're dropping off for like a whole day. And that's like that room that would be perfect for like a summer camp or even a whole day, that kind of thing. Back to meeting rooms, rooms just like this. They don't have to, they can run the gamut. So like on the left, you're seeing a very formal meeting room. This is really almost, I mean, they are ballrooms. This has got a full caterer's kitchen, it's dividable. That can be just like a hotel's meeting room versus the one on the right, which is a smaller scale. This one's in more of a neighborhood scale rec center. You can see it's got a hard floor and a mirror. That gives them the ability to have all kinds of classes, some where they may need to mop the floor. There's a big mirror. They do martial arts in here. They do yoga. It's a very flexible space. So again, multi-purpose is sort of the mantra. And don't forget the outside. You know, I'm an architect, and I've heard a lot of people before me talk about what makes a park a park. Well, rec centers are most of the time in a park. Not always, but most of the time. And knitting the center into the fabric of the park and tying it in the outdoor amenities is important as well. So here's a few examples. I'm going to start with a more traditional center. This one's in Richardson. It's about 25,000 square feet. You can see dominated by a gym, as you would expect. So the gym is probably a third of the footage. This is a double gym. You have your main entry with a control point that can look down the corridor, look into cardio, look into this corridor. So you only have a couple of staff members there, except during peak times it may jump to 3, that can still control the entire center. So it's very efficient in terms of its layout in that regard. This room is actually the meeting room I just showed. There's the aerobics room, control desk. Keller Point I wanted to show. This one is a little bit older. This one, I say a little bit, I think it finished in 2004. This one is about 45,000 square feet. It has an indoor pool and an outdoor pool. I didn't show the outdoor water on any of these. The reason I want to talk about this one for a moment is that cost recovery model. This is the first one that I know of in the area that's premise was it had to be 100% recapture rate. That doesn't, just to be clear, that doesn't include debt service. So there was a bond package that built the building, but after that, the premise was we don't want to subsidize this thing. That was the political will at that time. So this whole center and what went into the center in terms of the amenities was based on hitting that goal, and it's been successful for, I guess, 10 years now in meeting that goal. Of course, the flip side to that is your fee structure. And that's a whole other political decision that I really can't get into in a few minutes, but obviously a high recapture rate is more than likely going to mean a higher fee structure, and that's always politically driven and locally driven as to how that can be structured. But here's some images. Again, the track. where possible, whenever the building has enough size, we love to use that track. I call it the ribbon that ties the building together. Most of the time you think of a track, you just kind of think of kind of being a hamster cage and you're running around the gym. If you've got enough bulk to the center, this one's about 45,000 feet. We could actually bring the track out of the gym, run it through the lobby, run it alongside the pool, and it becomes a very dynamic sort of self-advertising component to the building. So here's a shot of the gym and the pool. This one's in Plano. This is about 80,000 feet if you discount the outdoor water and the bathhouse that serves it. Again, a double gym. This one has 2 bodies of water indoors, multi-function, multi-purpose meeting space here, and then the upper level has the track that runs around and the fitness space. The pink there is locker rooms that are centrally located so you can go either direction. This one had a great site, but it was challenging, and so the solution was to bridge the existing wetland. So it really has a beautiful approach. Again, a huge control desk. It's that center point. You can't get in the center without walking past the desk and checking in. And so this corridor on this side and this corridor on this side are the 2 main ways into the building. You can see the track above. North Richland Hills. This one I wanted to show not just because it's big. I mean, not every city wants to build 85,000 square feet, which is what this one is. This is a big center. But the reason it's so big is it's trying to do a lot of things under one roof. So there's actually a senior component, senior center built onto it at about 8,000 feet. These are the ballrooms I showed earlier. So that sort of banquet component's about 17,000 feet. If you look at just the recreation center, it's about 60. The natatorium is probably about 12 of that. And then upstairs there's a track that kind of runs around the rec portion of the building. And this is another trend. Again, it takes a certain size to make the numbers work, but there's 2 group exercise rooms. The problem with that aerobics room / group exercise room is everyone wants it at the same time. Everyone wants to be there after work. So that limits what you can offer in terms of classes. And if you offer yoga, then you've made the Pilates people mad, and vice versa and whatnot. So if the center has enough scale, you can easily populate and program 2 group exercise rooms. We're seeing a little bit more of that. Birthday party rental rooms, that's another way to help on the revenue stream. This is the same project. Here's the image again of the ballroom and of the senior center. The senior center as a component of the rec center is really interesting because it gives the seniors their turf. They want their own space. They don't want the kids coming in and messing them up. But by the same token, they have access to the entire center. So it's a way to keep the center active when it wouldn't normally be active. So during a school day, the seniors are using the ballrooms, they're using the game rooms, they're running around the track, they're using the weights, and you don't have to build that twice. You don't have to provide it in the senior center and provide it in the rec center. So if you can get some buy-in from your seniors and your community, it's really a successful model, and there's one right down the street if they wanted to look at it. They were very active in the design of that project as well. Here's the natatorium. I'm going to touch on this one again, mainly because I hesitated to put it in because this is a senior center, but is anybody familiar with the Summit?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a very unique senior center, and I like to call it a recreation center for grown-ups, because I mean that's really what it is. It's a recreation center that you can only get in if you're 50 and over. It's about 57,000 feet, and this is just a trendsetter in the industry. I could talk all morning about this project. So it's really upscale. It's very nice. And a lot of people get scared of that from the price point, but I always say, well, it's not just because it's got a nice budget and it's a nice center doesn't mean you can't do it. The underlying design principles are still the same about how to mix. It's a senior center, but it's still multi-generational. People don't think about that. 50 and up, there's really 2 generations. And they had all the same sort of sense of entitlement and ownership to their space that every generation has, and how do you make those work together. The other thing that's great about it is a lot of the money we spend in a rec center making it really durable, because it's got to handle all the knuckleheads that come in. We didn't have to spend that money on making it as durable. We could spend that same money making it a little bit nicer, because grown-ups will take care of their space. And if you give them a nice space, they actually take ownership of it themselves, and they're proud of it. So this has been a remarkable project. Again, a recreation center for grown-ups. Had a theater. We don't do a lot of saunas in this market, but this one did have one. Kind of a therapeutic, aspect to that for that demographic. So what's the next big thing in DFW? I would say it's in McKinney, and I couldn't help but observe that Gabe Nesbitt Park has been shown twice already in front of me. This is going in Gabe Nesbitt Park. So I'm sure the skate park is awesome, and I know it's awesome, but in 2 years, this will be the big draw to that. It's a huge park. This one's about 85,000 square feet, but it's really dominated by aquatics. I didn't come really prepared to talk about aquatics and recreation, but there's an indoor lap pool, indoor leisure, and an outdoor leisure pool. If you take the aquatics component off, about half of the center was what we call the dry side. Again, here's another instance of 2 group exercise rooms versus 1, double gym, track, really goes all the way around, can see into both sides, and a lot of fitness space. This one is also based on a cost recovery model. 100% though, as I recall. I'm trying to remember what it was, but don't hold me to that. It was close to that. So with that, I just want to say thanks for sticking with me for a little while. It's dangerous to give an architect a microphone and tell him to talk about his projects. So I tried to keep it quick. I hope this information is useful, and we're happy to be a resource for you guys as you continue to decide what's right for you. And I appreciate your time.
Okay, great. All right, I'm pumped up at this point right now. And so here's the thing that we asked you guys in the beginning is, what do you want DeSoto to look like in 5 to 10 years? And so right now we want to have an open forum to bring up those questions. You guys saw a lot of great things today. I mean, these things are mind-blowing, when we compare and look at that, and then we walk around our city. So what do we want DeSoto to look like in 5 to 10 years? And we're going to have all your comments and stuff documented. What we're going to do is you're going to use a microphone here, and I'm going to place the microphone here. And each person, as you come up, so we can be one, respectful of others, and also respectful of time. One question, one comment at a time. You also have your surveys that you filled out to give additional input as well. So you don't have to let the input stop after these questions. So if you got questions, comments, let's come up to the microphones right now. And I say questions or comments. Also, when you come in mind with, I want this in DeSoto. Whatever this may be to you. You may be the senior. I mean, you guys saw a great center right there. You may be the young person. What is it that you want in DeSoto in 5 to 10 years?
My name is Luther Jones, and what I'd like to see in DeSoto the next 5, 10 years, we have an opportunity. I visit the Senior Citizen Center every day that is open. Then it get withdrawal symptoms when it's not. But anyway, we have some beautiful land east of the Senior Citizen building. And I'm very interested in seeing what we can do to try to get that land for future development, because we have outgrown ourselves already. Because if half the people who belong to the Senior Citizen Center would come, we couldn't hold them. But I'd like to see some growth and some building because it has so much potential. That's it.
Good afternoon.
California.
Yes, I'm from Southern California. My daughter and I just moved here to Texas a year ago, and I've just been in DeSoto since September. And my question is, I'm noticing, I'm still getting familiar with your city location. I notice everything's very close. Duncanville is just like basically 2 lights away, and then after that is Cedar Hills. And where I'm from, our cities are spaced out, so I'm noticing that I'm sure this is the only recreation department you have over here. how would you open it up? How would you make it so that if you do decide to build a new center, it's attractive to DeSoto residents based Duncanville and Cedar Hill and Lancaster on the other side of the freeway?
So our question today is, what do you want that to look like?
Right. How would that look? How would that look?
And that's what we asked.
Right.
What is it? That's the question. We don't have an answer for today in terms of what it looked like. The purpose of this meeting is just your very question of what is it that you want it to look like?
I mean, I would like it to be big enough so that it could not only it would benefit the close proximity of seats you have, and everyone would say, you know, I'm gonna go to DeSoto Recreation Center instead of driving all the way to Dallas or to, I guess, Red Oak. I'm still getting used to
So a rec center that would be kind of a destination point that would be bigger than what we have right now.
Right.
All right, good deal.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Well,
Yes, mine is not basically concerned about parks and recreation, but I'm talking about in our local neighborhoods, especially off of Beltline, you have to cross the street. And in order to cross the street, you have to dance with cars also. And I was wondering, is there any way that we could, in our park, get a crosswalk on DeSoto and, well anyways, on DeSoto, how do we go about doing that so we can get to the park?
okay, so we're talking about more, how do we connect our city more so that we can get to the park?
Parkways, what
Okay.
do you call it, crosswalks, make it more safer for us to get to these places if we don't have transportation, to walk to these parks without dancing with cars, taking a risk.
Walkability.
Say again?
Walkability.
Walkability, okay, that's good. Thank you, that's good.
What will be done?
No, we can't answer those questions today. What we're talking about is, again, 5 to 10 years down the road.
Oh, okay.
So 5 to 10 years down the road, what it would look like is that you'll be able to walk without dancing with cars. I agree with you. I think, okay.
Good afternoon. I married into DeSoto about 12 years ago. And so 5 to 10 years from now, my needs will be different. But I will say I grew up in Richardson, and since I've been in DeSoto, we travel outside of DeSoto for most of our recreational needs. Richardson is, I hate to say it's awesome, but my kids, I do summer camp there, we still do swimming lessons there, my mother still lives there, so I still maintain an address for that purpose. And then I've done more birthday parties at Tom Mellenbeck than I have in DeSoto.
So what is it in 5 to 10 years? You say you need to change something. What is it that you want to see here?
I think DeSoto does a great job for teens. So 5 to 10 years, I will have teens. Right now, I don't. And so you guys are a little late for me, but for any family coming in with young kids, there needs to be a reason.
But you have a teenager in 5 to 10 years?
I have a teenager in 5 to 10 years.
So we got to meet the needs of the teenagers.
Right, and I think DeSoto does a great job with teenagers. So I think if you continue under that, what you're doing will be good. But right now, we're going north.
Okay, I agree. Okay.
My name is Dorothy Willis, and I'm a constant at the recreation center here. And I'm concerned in 10 years, or 5 or 10 years from there, I'd like to see that track, a soft track to walk on.
Soft track to walk on, all right.
And an indoor swimming pool.
All right.
And a sauna. All of these things that's under one roof, so we can come out of there feeling good, looking good, and being good.
So not just a track, but a soft walking track, so we're a little easy on the knees and stuff. Okay. And if we said sauna, outside, just going outside in the summertime. Okay. And the pool, okay, right here.
But she actually said what I wanted. I want an indoor pool with heated indoor pool. Yeah, because we're as we get older, with the arthritis and all that's kicking in, and we want to be able to do the aquatics and all of that, but we need the amenities to be able to meet that need. I do like the indoor walking track. I think I would love that. But more than anything, I would like us to have something that looks like the summit. where you have all the movies and all the stuff where people want to come. I mean, I have a lot of friends that go way to Grand Prairie just to get what we don't have.
So we're talking about a rec center that has much more diversity than what we have in terms of the look and the appeal, the walking track, sound
Movies and all that stuff.
and the movie theater, so kind of man cave like. Yes, sir.
Howdy, my name is John McCaleb, and I walk the the Roy Orr Trail every day. And I've noticed that there's a lot of invasive plants that are coming in there, such as privet. Neil Sperry had an article about privet plant about 2 weeks ago in the weekly paper that came out on Friday. And I noticed that the Royal Trail is now being covered by this particular invasive plant. Is there a possibility of start working against that, or putting in more native plants, or milkweed weed that would help the butterfly come through? If the trail can be more beautified with nature, then more people would use it.
We've got trails all over the place, so we're talking about maybe beautifying that a little bit more, making sure that plants, some invasive weeds and stuff don't take over that, okay?
Hi, I'm Teresa, and I support the skate park. The presenter mentioned about the Olympics. They want to bring that as an Olympic sport. And I'm not a discriminatory type of person. I want to see more minority children get into that as an upcoming sport in the Olympics. I think if we could start them here, it would branch off into that. But even beyond just the African American students, I think that for all of our students, for our nation to be more inclusive and get along, I think a skate park would also bring that together.
Skate park brings a little bit more diversity in minority community. That's not a huge thing. But when we talk about something like this, that fits in well. The designs that we talk about, that was mind blowing to me, and I've been in the industry for a while. So that was good stuff. We do have a BMX park here, right? And Renee, if I recall correctly, the national champion is African American. Is that correct?
Yeah, that has been part of
So when we talk about skate parks, you can't be that off base because we got BMX sitting right here, and that's one of the only ones in the region. Is that
only one covered.
Okay. Yes, sir.
My name is Floyd Hall. I'm from the Senior Center also. I want to talk about aesthetics at the center. Right now, it's a plain, sterile environment. The people there need some color tones on the wall. We need to have some rails on the wall for people who are unstable. Some are walking canes, some don't. They're instead of coming out the hallways. We need some rails on the walls for them to hold on to. We need an aquarium in the lobby. People who have dementia, early stage dementia, sometimes their mind wander. We had an aquarium, paintings on the wall. The walls are barren. We need art on the walls to make it look better, people to feel in better. Also, on the expansion we talked about, the parking lots are full. We are bender benders. We need to expand the parking lots. Also, we expand the center to make it more available for people who have problems.
Our community is getting older, and so we got to make sure, it's not just having the handicapped parking spaces, but having the facilities to make sure, inside the facilities, to make sure those needs are being met also, and then just the appeal and appearance of everything. Okay? You got other folks? And you did mention parking. Parking is important.
Yes, I'm Joe Narcisse. I've been in DeSoto for about 22 years. I would like to see a mega softball complex built in DeSoto.
Okay. Mega softball complex. Okay. And that puts some seats in the beds, and so when we have big tournaments and things like that. Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, I related to DeSoto also, and recently moved here some years ago. But I lived here lately, and I would not like to see this change in 4 or 5 years. We allow business to come into our area, the area is the back of the area. We don't force these folks to build these walls. We really should. That is wonder why the crime rate rises so far. We need to force them to do the right thing from the beginning. They just all areas is making the law. My wife and I a paper over the window. We want to stick the head in there and see what's going on before you get knocked in.
So as businesses
Now,
come
force
in,
these people to clean these windows out, and hey, if they're not able, go out there.
so as businesses come in, we want to make sure the city as a whole is beautiful, and that's what we have keep DeSoto beautiful. Okay, good. And some of that, you know, deal with our planning and our other laws and all of this stuff. Yes, sir.
My name is Paul Miranda, formerly of DeSoto Heat, back in the day, a little basketball group of about 70 kids. And I think about some of the things why I'm not coaching anymore. It's the same argument that we had 5-10 years ago. We don't have the facilities for the basketball kids. Remember, DeSoto is football and basketball. Don't get me wrong, I'm with the diversity thing and so forth, skateboard and all that's cool, but remember what our demographics are and who we are. The same argument 5 or 10 years ago, I'm getting ready to have the same thing. I have a 5-year-old now. My oldest son is 16. He's on the high school basketball team. And I just think coming back up again, if we still have the same problems, eventually we gotta stop talking about the same problems. And don't get me wrong, this meeting right here is good, because I've never even met you, I've never even seen you. There's a couple of your other board members that I've never seen, but we gotta start doing something about the problem that we have. The schools don't work with us as far as getting gym space. Now we're competing with aerobics and what's the other, rumba stuff, you know, Zumba, whatever, you know. Sorry. But and I'm listening to a lot of you guys' comments, and I get the senior citizens and so forth. Again, a lot of this park and recreation, y'all, don't forget, it's really supposed to be about the kids. And today, I don't hear no focus on what we're doing for the kids other than the skateboard thing. The swimming thing is great, because you can train, you know, kids in the swimming pool and so forth, so I'm with that. But I'd like to see more you guys actually doing something about getting these facilities. And 5-10 years, that's what I'm looking at.
Because we know right now that we're filling this gym up every other weekend with various tournaments, so we know that that's an issue right there that we got to grow. And I think one of the comments that the consultant made is that kind of combined use, you know, so how do we work even closer with the schools? So 5 to 10 years down the road, we do have more space to be able to do basketball programs. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Cleve McFarland, and I agree with you, and I like your passion about the kids, right? So we've got to be a little bit selfless in what we're looking for our 5-year vision to be. It's not really about just what we know today. We need to get more basketball, yes, more spots for the basketball players, I get that. But we also need to look at the kids that don't play basketball, right? We need to look at the kids that don't have the height, don't have the speed, don't have whatever. So what do they do, right? So we need to start including some of the stuff that we normally don't look at to say, open those up for our other, you know, our younger kids.
And what would that look like for you?
Well,
in 5 to 10 years, what would that look like?
We do have a BMX park, I get that, that's good. We could include a skate park for the few, you know, offshoots that would do skating. But basketball and swimming is another one, right? 2 of my kids swim, and 1 played soccer. One is football size, but he doesn't have the temperament for football. And as a person that played football, I hate that for him. But I need to give him something else, right? So we can't just go with what we know. Football, basketball, yeah, I get that. The schools do a good job at that too, right? But we need to have some courts for that.
So
we need to diversify our sports as well. So, you know, think about what Yanni presented. Is it Yanni? Think of what he presented. Think of other things that you can bring. Don't go back to the staple things that we already have plenty of. You saw 99 baseball diamond. How many kids are still going to baseball? You know, come on, we got to start, you know, just repurposing some of what we've got now.
So as we talk about developing our future 5 to 10 years, we got to start looking at our different programs, because athletics, like I said, is not the only thing that our young people do. They do other things. We have another question? Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, my name is Darrell Sanders, and my wife and I, we've been involved in youth sports for some time, and I just really want to reiterate the indoor swimming facility, repurposing, like the gentleman just said, the resources that we already have, and definitely taking care of our seniors as well down the road. That's huge to where everybody in recreation is surely not just.
We'll be there.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, and I understand that the demographics of our city, and it really is more than just football and basketball. We want to be inclusive. So.
Hey, I appreciate this. We're gonna, for the sake of time, we got a couple more things. We'll let you be the last question, and then if you guys could just, we're at 2 minutes to 12. Give us just 5 additional minutes to wrap up. We'll make this the last question, then we'll just have to do some wrap up because we do have a drawing. So if you leave, you don't get the opportunity to tap. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Tracy Sanders. First, I want to thank you all for creating this forum for us to have a voice about what we want our city to look like in 5 to 10 years. But I think if we look more for indoor-outdoor complexes that would look nice for like a tennis facility, indoor-outdoor batting. Baseball is good, but there's no place for our kids to have a quality place to have batting practices or grounding unless they go to Cedar Hill or Cedar is on one. But indoor-outdoor basketball and soccer and track as well as swimming facility. If we have the space for it in DeSoto, but we can pull together some of the people who have these ideas and these things. If we would create committees for them, they have these wonderful ideas. These committees get together just as they're offering solutions that need to be met, put their voices on that. If they want to say something bad about it, they know a way to get it fixed, and pulling the ideas together, I think, will make it work. And we can't forget our seniors. I love our seniors. Right across from the center, there's a soccer field. Not underutilized. I don't think it's used at all. But that can be turned into a soft surface walking trail for them. I have a knee injury now. I used to run from like this area down to Walmart. I love running. I'm not able to do that now, and I would love to see a soft walk or jog surface. And I think there needs to be more accountability for monitoring for the track and football and other programs that are out in the community. They sometimes take over the neighborhood to where the taxpayers, the citizens who live in that area are not able to access that. The track team will take up the whole track. And people who need to go to the track for rehab and who live in that area, we're not able to utilize that. So if the senior center or the recreation department is responsible for that, I would like to see them step up or, police me, I'll do it. I just want to have the okay to do it.
So 2 things that came out of that was that, and I heard this multiple times, soft surface. Communities getting older and we need those things, so that's great. And I'm going to segue to one of your points. You talked about various different committees. You guys have in your packet, or you were handed, volunteer. We got volunteer applications out here. The planning process starts here. It does not end with the park board. It really begins with you getting involved. And so we need people to volunteer, and there's various areas that we need that. And on the volunteer application, you will see where those different places are. There's one that's not up there that we emphasize in here today. We talked about trails. And one of the things that we would love to see is that if there is a group of people who are very interested in the trails, from the walking aspect to the beauty aspect, whatever that case may be, if you have a great interest in that right there, we put that on the application, because we really need, with the bond we just passed and the money that's been invested into our trails, and again, don't look at it from today's standpoint. Look at it from 5 to 10 years. In 5 to 10 years, what it's going to look like is, how do I get from here to Cedar without driving? You may want to take your bike. You may want to walk that right there. I mean, that is where the future is headed at. So we need folks to be a part of that, and if you have interest, put that up there. We will be following up with those who are interested in volunteering. And so now I want to talk about what's those next steps. So ask Nicole Raphael to talk about that.
Part of those next steps is something that we already have established in our community, which is called DeSoto Dining and Dialogue. And so we want to keep this conversation going. And so we're inviting you to come out on March 28th to participate in DeSoto Dining and Dialogue, where you can continue the same conversation. Invite some other people to the conversation. The dinner table is a great way to meet your neighbors, great way to meet people you don't know, great way to meet some young people invite them as well. At the table, just in the back with a little stand, is the application if you would like to register for that on March 28th. It's a dinner, it's a free meal, you know, it's a free conversation, and it's a conversation in our community, as well as you'll get information about how you can volunteer for other people in our community. So there's a lot of great energy we have here right now. We want to keep it going, and we want to expand it, because I've been here in DeSoto for 18 years now. I was at the comprehensive planning meetings. I've seen the things that, you know, we want to come, but if we don't continue the conversation, we continue to keep the energy going, and continue to remind our people that we elect to monitor our funds, to remind the people who work here as the staff that, hey, this is the plan that we want from 38 years ago or from right now. If we don't continue to do that, then, you know, this is a great conversation. We smile about it, and we just tell their hug and keep going. We want to keep that conversation going, so please stop by the table, get information on how you can register. You can register online through the website, or you can fill out the form and leave it here today. But again, thank you so much for coming out today. This has been really wonderful. Another way you can engage is through the website Engage. You want to talk about that now? Okay.
So down in dialogue, it's right back here at this table. So pick up the forms there. You can make it, share with your friends. We want to continue the same conversation. So, all right, you guys are coming around this time. I only have one, and I'm just a drawer. So.
We have to be here.
Well, I don't have a dog to fight. So here we go. All right, Mr. Luther Jones. Mrs.
Yeah.
Luther Jones.
She is the winner.
Right here.
No. She is.
Man. All right, you know. Tell him. All right, here we go. Donald Ray.
No.
Thank you for your input on the survey.
Don't be employed.
Talk to your boss about that. All right, Shirlene Clay. All right. You have a Encore 2. What's the sheep? There you go. I can't